Well, let me hit record here. Make sure we capture all the goodness. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sweet. How are you?
Good. How are you?
So much better than on Friday. Thank you for your
Uh-huh.
flexibility with me. Feeling much more human this afternoon. And I'm excited because this feels like a long time in the pipeline to get to connect.
Uh-huh.
Like, see, it took everything in me this morning not to like message you and be like, so what are we coaching on today? Tell me, give me a heads up, give me a heads up. Um,
I've been thinking about it a lot too. So,
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited and thank you once again for allowing us to share this within our community as a learning tool. I will say though at the end, Whitney, if we get to it, and who knows what we uncover here today, but if you're like, that was not where I thought this was going and I don't want to share it with anybody, let me know. Happy to pivot and do another session with somebody else. I think that your safety is the most important thing here for me to playful out, do our coachy goodness, and if we don't want to put it on a podium for people to see, I totally understand. So you're in control of the final product as well.
okay, sounds good.
All right, Whitney. Before we jump into like setting up the container and all the things, do you mind like looping me in on where you are in the world, who you are in the world, like the mini bio of Whitney, because we don't really know each other in real life
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Okay. So, mini bio. I'll just start with my nursing career and then where I'm at now.
Cool.
So, started as a CNA. Got my CNA when I was in high school. I'm 36 now. It's hard to say sometimes. Like, whoa. Um,
Yeah.
I am a mother of two. I have a stepdaughter and then a son who will be 13 in August. Been together with my partner. We are not married, but we've been together 17 years. And then let's see. So started as a CNA, went to LPN school, and then I saw this ad for nurse coaching. And so I'm like, wow, what is that? So I looked into it, realized I had to be an RN. So worked in pediatrics at a clinic for almost 6 years and worked on my BSN at the time and finished that because I'm like, I want to be a nurse coach. So I got to have my RN to do that.
Yeah.
So worked in surgery, did pre-post and PACU for a little over a year. And they were changing up the schedule and stuff like that. And I've never really wanted to work 12-hour shifts. I did it as a CNA. I saw how hard the nurses worked. I mean, even as a CNA, you work really hard too.
Yeah.
And I just never wanted to do that. Like that never aligned with me. Um, and so I found a clinic job, stayed there for a long time, and then found nurse coaching and thought this is something I could really see myself doing and make my own schedule maybe one day or work outside the box.
Yeah.
So I have had my RN now for a little over 2 years. And now or almost 3 years. So, and now I'm a director of nursing for a federally qualified healthcare center out of Ada, Oklahoma. And so been there for almost 2 years now and in leadership. So
Nice.
definitely, yeah. Yeah, it just kind of happened on a whim, honestly. Never thought that they would say, hey, do you want to be our director of nursing? A friend of mine worked there and she was like, we have a director of nursing spot. Do you want to apply? And I'm like, sure, I have my BSN. I mean,
Yeah.
why not? I mean,
Why
the
not?
worst that's going to happen is they're going to be like, no, we don't think you're a good fit. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they call and say, hey, we want you. So I'm like, all right.
All right,
So
buckle up. Here we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I'm at. I have two dogs, a cat, I have chickens, and now I'm just in leadership and just doing day to day managing people.
Yeah. Yeah, my question is like, do you like that, Whitney? How is it being a DON?
To be quite honest with you, it's not something I want to continue to keep doing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's very draining.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have coached a few, like either current or previous DONs over the years, and it's a similar vibe. I'm kind of like in search of the unicorn who has either a magic system figured out, or I'm not sure, that like really thrives in that role. But I can imagine it's pretty demanding. Like a lot of people
Hmm.
are looking at you for
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
I don't even get really time off. Even though it is a 9 to 5, not a 12-hour shift, it's still like I think about it when I wake up, when I go to sleep.
hmm,
Like what's my week gonna bring? What's gonna come up? Like I'm very set person. I mean, all I think all nurses are like we like our set schedule, and this job is definitely not one where I can plan and set a schedule because
yeah,
things come up all the time.
yeah, totally, absolutely. Oof. All right, my friend. Well,
Hmm.
thanks for the little bio there. That's helpful context. And
Hmm.
yeah, my whole family is actually from Oklahoma. I'm down in Texas, and so spent quite a lot of time in Oklahoma. I've even taken a nursing job in Lawton, Oklahoma when my husband was
Hmm.
stationed there. And I'm familiar with your neck of the woods where you're at. So um a bit of a different culture down here in the South with nursing.
Yeah.
It's different. So
Yes.
we're on familiar pages with that. Um and okay, can I share anything about me, Whitney, that would be helpful? If you've listened to our podcast, you probably like know my whole life story, but if you don't, I can give you the quick version just so this feels equal in exchange for me asking
Yeah.
for your short life story.
Yeah. I do listen to your podcast. But I mean, outside of the podcast, I'd like to hear your short
Yeah.
bio.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Short bio. So I'm down in Austin, not terribly far from where you are. I also have two kiddos. I have two girls. They're 5 and 18 months, and we are expecting our third here in 4 more months, which is kind of like I keep looking at the calendar, like, yeah, we're having another baby by the end of the year. So about like 20 weeks pregnant at the moment. Um, outside of, I mean, you understand the heat in a way that most of my clients could never,
Yes.
being down here. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
during the summer, we're kind of like inside a lot. But we, in our fun time and our off time, like we went to Hawaii this summer. We like to spend time at the lake, like very, very nature based. And what else? I also have two dogs. They're old and crotchety though, Whitney, and I feel like I have like two grandmas that we also have living in the house that we're taking care of. But yeah, just really in the season of parenting little kids and the daily wind changes that come with parenting two young and expressive kiddos. It's quite the journey. It parallels my entrepreneurial journey pretty closely with like the highs and the lows and the oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, what have we done? Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
That
Cool.
sounds great.
Eh, yeah, it is. I get to coach a lot of moms similar to you that
Uh-huh.
have like teens and they're like, "Oh, it goes so fast." And I was like, "Oh, I believe you, but I swear
Yeah,
this
it
day had
really does.
28 hours in it. I swear it did."
Yeah. I have a niece and nephew that are 6 and 2, and
Oh yeah.
so I get to experience it with my sister.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not far removed from the equation
Mm-mm.
here. You're not far
No,
removed.
no.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing the short story with me, and I'm looking forward to like getting to know at least this little slice for the next hour or so a little bit better. Would you be okay, Whitney, for the sake of this like setup, if we run through the agreements really quick for a coaching session? I know you're familiar with them. I'm
Hmm.
familiar with them, but I think they're super important just to kind of like set up our space here.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, my friend. So, like I mentioned before, safe and confidential space, that's the biggest priority for me, especially when we're recording a call for training purposes. If we get to the end, You're in 100% control. And if you want to delete it forever, we can delete it forever. But outside of this container, all of the eyes that watch this recording will also be holding safe and confidential space for you, whether they watch it in 2024 or in 2032, if it sticks around for that long. And I promise no one will be like sneaking into your email being like, Whitney, that thing you talked to Shelby about 10 years ago, can I coach you on it? Like, no one's going to be
Yeah.
pulling sneaky coachy moves on you in the future. Anything else to add to the safety and confidentiality?
No, I'm okay with all of that.
Cool. All right, sweet. All right. So I have about the next hour, 50 minutes or so. Luckily we're recording on a Sunday, so my schedule is very flexible, but we have about the next hour. And Whitney, I know you mentioned that you had been thinking about what you wanted to be coached on, and I encourage you to like play full out. I'm not a mind reader, and I'm especially not a mind reader when we have a one-off session for an hour. So if there's
Mhm.
anything specific that you want to talk about, I encourage you to voice it. And if you say the thing and I for some reason go into left field and take it somewhere totally different, be like, no, 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 back over here. I don't like, that's for later. This is for now. Totally open to redirection since our time is precious. But I want to invite you to get the most out of this experience and be as vulnerable as possible. And I promise to do the same with you.
Okay.
All right. And then lastly, uh, if we find ourselves in the deep end and you're like, nah, this isn't it, then we can always back out, pivot, all the things. I like to tell my clients that um, I'm not afraid of the edge, but it's also not my edge to walk up to. So if it's feeling a little shaky or too soon or too fast, um, I'm open to that, but I'm going to be pretty fearless in finding the line or finding the edge to walk up to if it presents itself. And I've been in the hot seat before, so I know what it's like to feel rushed or like too much too fast, and we can just put it off limits. You just let me know. You loop me in. I'm also usually pretty good at cueing in on if it might
Hmm.
be if it might be too much, and so I'll check in with you if I'm sensing some nervousness or hesitation. But anything else to add to that?
No, I'm okay with all those.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
All right, Whitney. Well, I invite you to take a deep breath if you need it or if you would like it, and we will drop into this space together. I'm genuinely here for the ride. I purposely didn't message you, even though I super wanted to get a heads up because then my brain plans and I wanted to be in flow with what was present for you. So, where do we begin?
So I've been thinking about it. Um, and I've maybe it's my motivation, I think,
Okay.
that I'm maybe struggling with. Like I had this motivation, like, okay, I have to get my RN. This is what I want to do. Like, I'm, all about health and wellness, and I want people to be better versions of themselves. So, this nurse coaching thing, this is what I want to do. I did that, got my RN, got my nurse coaching certificate. Um, and then I don't know, I would say this last year, I have just been like, blah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I still want to attain all these goals and still want to do all these things, but then I start moving in that direction, then I'm just like, meh. I
Mm.
just kind of fizzle out. I don't know what it is. Like I've struggled with, I've gone back and forth. Is it depression? No, I see a doctor. I see someone for that. My anxiety has increased a lot, taken, started some new medication to help with that, but I don't feel like medication is going to fix everything either.
Yeah.
And so it has definitely helped, but it's like I've been in my head a lot,
Mm.
questioning myself a lot. And, you know, I, I, I don't know, like I, I'm trying to, I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm blaming it on my job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but is it really like, or is it just what else is going on. And so I don't know, I've just been stuck.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm going through the motions. I'm doing things, but it's just like, meh,
Mhm. Yeah,
you
the
know,
first thing that popped into my brain, I was like, remind me when you started your job, Whitney. Like, when did we start the DON gig?
it's been, it has been in what my anniversary date is in October. So it'll be 2 years in
Okay.
October.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you of like,
mhm,
um, it may be a factor, but I'm also
mhm,
sensing that there's like another something going on
yeah.
here. Like a, so I'm curious alongside you. I don't have a best guess, but can you just tell
Mhm.
me more? Like when did you notice that the motivation wasn't there? You strike me as a very like RN,
Yeah.
BSN, nurse, like you check
Yeah.
significant boxes in the past few
Yeah.
years.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I even like did um my call with the nurse coaching program that I was got into. And even then, like I was like really motivated and yeah, but like it was still something that was just like, I know you really want to do this, but do you like, and
Mm,
I don't know. And like, I don't know, like everything in my relationship is fine. It's always been the way it has been. It's, nothing has changed there. My son's getting older, which is great. I'm happy for that. Like, he's going to be a teenager. Um, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to blame everything on my job, but I'm like, sometimes is it?
mhm,
I don't, I think it changed when leadership's hard. And so it makes me question a lot myself a lot. And so, um, but at the same time, it's also challenging and it's nursing in a different way.
mhm,
But I don't know that I really enjoy it that much. And it's not as, I don't know, like as a nurse work on the floor, excuse me, sorry.
that's
Fell.
okay.
As a nurse working on the floor, um, you just always look at your managers or your boss and you're like, man, they have it easy. They have no idea. But now I'm in this spot and I'm just like, whoa, I was totally wrong. Like,
Yeah.
and um, so it makes me question a lot about not nursing in general, but just people. Like, I deal with a lot of people all day long, different personalities. There's 80 nurses that I'm over. And so I think that gets eats at me a little bit just because it's a lot to deal with.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so I try to go to the gym every day. That makes me feel a little bit better. Um, but I want to go when I want to go. And with my schedule, like I work an hour away. And so I have to go in the morning almost. And if I try to go in the afternoon, um, it's like I'm having to rush back to get there in the afternoon. So I go to a CrossFit gym. And so I like to go to the classes where there's people there and not by myself. And so I don't know. I just don't, and I don't feel like my boss is very supportive, the CNO. She's very supportive and I like her, but like there's just a lot of eggshells you have to walk around too with the other people there. And so it's just like, I don't feel like I'm myself there.
mhm.
Like I can be myself. That makes sense.
Yeah. I can see how the feeling of walking on eggshells and not able to be your full self there, and then also this questioning yourself too, like how
Mm-hmm.
those are probably hanging off each other pretty nicely. um
Mm-hmm.
the mind that just keeps coming to, or the word that keeps coming to mind is constricted, of
Mm-hmm.
it's like we're holding our breath a little bit. um can you tell me a little bit more about that? Do you have like a specific example, Whitney, of like not being able to be yourself in that role?
Where I worked previously for like when I was a pediatric nurse for 6 years, um, like I knew my stuff. Like I was really good. Like, every I felt like um everyone came to me for something because I was the only pediatric nurse there, but um like I knew my stuff. Like I didn't second guess myself a lot of times.
Mm.
I didn't have to go to someone. And so in this role, it's so new. I still feel like I'm asking a lot of questions. I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about a lot of times. And so, because there's so like policy and procedure, like literally so many things to remember and to learn and to navigate, like navigating, well, so someone wants to do this, but what's the legal way or the right way to do things? And like, I just don't um, feel like I can really be myself in that area either. I'm just like, I feel like I just don't know what I'm doing a lot of the times.
Mm.
And, I had only been a nurse, an RN for a little over a year before I took this leadership role. I mean, an RN, but I've been an LPN almost 7 years at that point. So not like a brand new nurse, brand new RN, yes, but so I feel like I'm always still asking questions and like, like was that the right decision? And so I don't know, just and so like before I could like just have a good day and be like, oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Like here's the answer. Like,
Mm.
and then this position, it's like, oh gosh, just so you know, I did this and this, and you know, these are the things I did. I did it because of this, and I don't know. I feel like I'm always having to like just make sure that I'm with my CNO. Like this is what I did, just so you know. Like this is why I did it. Like I'm giving her the rationale for almost everything I
Mm-hmm.
do, and before I never really had to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. What's the feedback that you're getting, Whitney? Is your CNO like, great? Or is she like, actually, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, most of the time it's great. I mean, she's very supportive.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes she's like, well, you know, I would have done it this way, but but you did it your way, and that's fine. Like, so it's not really negative at all. Like,
Yeah.
nursing is the biggest department in for the clinic, and so we have the most personalities to deal with. We have the most
Mhm.
like when we have an event, our clinic event reporter. When those events come in, most of the time it's nursing. Like
Yeah.
anything comes up, everything falls back on nursing. So,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I feel like she is supportive. Um, and I really strive to be that leader. Like, we only have like 400 employees total. And so I feel like with our department being so big and being a nurse on the floor where you feel like no one's listening to you, I try to be that person, that leader that actually like, okay, I'm listening to you. I'm using my nurse coaching. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? Like all this, and then taking it to my CNO and like, this is what they're saying. Like, what can we do? And she's like, yeah, let's go ask the CEO and the CFO. Like it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so, I mean, the nurses have given us good feedback saying that we, communicate with them well, like all the things that you wouldn't get at a typical
Sweet. Yeah.
place. So, um, and so I feel like that is okay. It's just, it's the negative feedbacks that I do get. Like I've had a couple of issues where they're just like, it's favoritism and I don't trust her. She's, you know, I've heard she's an idiot. Like I've heard like, so the negative
Mm.
things are
Mm-hmm.
in my head, even though it's not very much. So then I'm always still like, and they've told me in my CNO, she's like, you're not everyone's gonna like you. And I'm like, I understand that, but um, I it still really bothers me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
That sucks to
yeah, it
hear.
does.
True or not
Mhm.
true. It
Yeah,
sucks to hear it.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. What does that bring up for you, Whitney?
It honestly, it like brings up like on memories of being bullied in like
Yeah.
middle
Yeah.
school and high school. And so like I'm like internally like, oh God, like I need to run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
So
Yeah, there's like real science, Whitney,
mhm,
about exactly what you're describing right here. So in case you need to hear like this makes sense and you're not crazy, like this makes sense and you're not
mhm,
crazy. Our brains, they get, programmed from childhood experiences, and then in our adult life, we're kind of scanning the world for confirmation bias, good or bad, and
mhm,
this feedback kind of confirms some potentially gnarly thoughts, beliefs, etc. we may
yeah.
have lingering around, and um very, very normal and very painful. Like it just it's a bummer. It's a super
Mhm.
bummer. Um would it be helpful to explore that a little bit? Is that like feeling heavy for you, or is it do we want to take it somewhere else?
It doesn't feel really that heavy to me. Is it bothersome? Yes, but um, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we can tiptoe here and see if
Mhm,
there's a thread to pull on, and if not, we can let her float away in the wind.
mhm,
Um, as someone like almost in an alternate reality, Whitney, out here in nurse coach world, hearing like whenever I hear this kind of feedback about me, it also, even though I know it's not true, it still stings.
mhm.
So yeah, we can let's tiptoe here for a second. So whenever we are hearing negative feedback, true or untrue, and it's like bringing up these memories of being bullied when we were younger, um, what does it mean about you when that happens? Like, what are the thoughts that come up of like, oh, people don't like me, or see, I knew I wasn't good enough? Like, is there any story that comes up for you here?
Definitely like you, because leadership is new. So it's definitely like, you're not a good leader. You
Mm,
don't know, you are brand new at this. Like, I mean, they're right. Like you should, you don't know what you're doing. You haven't been doing this long enough, like to be making independent decisions,
mhm,
you know,
mhm,
um, and like, what are you doing here?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. What does it mean about you, Whitney, if you don't have enough experience to be doing this?
I need to be doing what I am good at. Like, just go back to what I am good at. Safe
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. You
Hmm.
mentioned like that urge to like run. So
Hmm.
running back to a domain where we feel safe. Yeah,
Hmm.
100% makes sense. Mm. Do you want to?
Some days I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back there and just be like, I mean, I'm an RN. But I can probably find another RN, like go back to that same place where it's old coworkers. We're still all really good friends, like, and just get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. What stops you from doing that?
I know I can do more, like I can do better.
Mhm. 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 Is it do more and do better as a DON, or do more and do better as something else?
Something else,
Yeah.
not a DON. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not something I want to be forever.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about that?
It's not as, I mean, it's fulfilling. Some days are really good. And like you get off, like when I haven't started nurse coaching and doing anything on my own, but like getting off of a call with like my peers, like, and like, man, I nailed that today. Like I did a good job. Like, so when I have good days like that, especially when I'm interacting with the nurses and I'm like fulfilling things for them, like checking their boxes, things like that, like I feel great. And so I'm like, man, that this I'm doing a good job. This is why I'm here. And then, but then it's the ones where I'm having to make the hard decisions, like affecting someone's livelihood because they're not doing a great job, and having to have these hard conversations, and then just dealing with like mundane things like quality and like all that boring stuff to me. I'm just like, ugh, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? And then being an hour away from home and not
Yeah.
being super available and having to make arrangements for my son, like
Yeah.
all those things. I'm just like, that just like is like not on a scale from 1 to 10. It's like a 3. Like it's
Yeah.
full. Like I literally, even to the point where like I like planning something after work. It's like, well, I mean, I can do it, but it's gonna have to be like 6:37. And then it's like by then I want to go to bed because I need to get up and go to the gym in the morning because I can only go to the gym at 5 and not, like it's
Mm-hmm.
just like blood. It's such a drag.
Yeah. 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 It sounds like the DON role is stretching you to a capacity, but that it's like an interim position for
Mm-hmm,
what you really want to be doing in the world that
mm-hmm,
allows for more time freedom, more flexibility, being around your family more,
mm-hmm.
not spending 2 hours in the car every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to bring back the first thing you mentioned, Whitney, at the beginning of the call, motivation, where does that like fit in to all of this here?
Well, I think it's motivation to do something different, honestly. Now that I think about it more,
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, the 2 hours in the car, before, where I've like when I've worked at the hospital or even at the clinic I worked at, they were all within 20 minutes from my house. And so it was like, oh yeah, no big deal. Like I could make time to go somewhere and like have dinner with my friends in the middle in the during the week, or like, oh, I can't make it to the gym in the morning. No big deal. I'll just go after work. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my kid has something. Well, I can just shoot right over there and grab it real quick and bring it to him. Or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I only work until noon on Fridays, but if I have to, we have a clinic that's 20 minutes from my house, but I can't always be there all the time to work from there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
usually having to be at the clinic that's an hour away because that's where our administration office is and like the bulk of our clinics are.
Yeah.
So I can't always guarantee that, yeah, I can work just from 20 minutes away. Like it's not a guarantee. And so, um, like when I've been closer to home, like I'm more active, like in my community, with my family, with my friends, even. But it's like I'm just in the car listening to podcasts or listening to an audiobook and coming home, making dinner, going to bed, doing it all over again.
Yeah. 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 It sounds like there's very little time
Mm-hmm.
for the things that are important to you. And when, mm, yeah, it's hard to like get excited about your day when there's not too many things that you're super excited for.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, too, Whitney, I'm curious how you would define motivation because when I hear you talk, um, I see someone who is very highly motivated. Like we're up at the gym at 5 a.m. That takes a special breed of human. I'm not in that category personally. Like I'm like, yeah, motivated people will go to the gym at 5
Mm-hmm.
a.m. Motivated people drive an hour to work. Motivated people do a job and want to do a good job, even if it's not a job that they're not completely in love with. Like I see a lot of highly motivated qualities about you. So I'm curious what's missing for you.
when you point those things out, you're right. I mean, I know a lot of people who don't do that because obviously I am motivated to go to work. I mean, I have bills to pay. I have,
Yeah.
we have all the things like that. The job keeps things moving. Um, Things I want to do because I have a job.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of a different word. It's not drive because drive's basically the same thing as motivation. I don't know. The only word that like, and it's not even a word. It's like a description, and that's just blah. Like I'm just like blah, like meh.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want to get things started, and I start getting there, and it's like, and then it just stops. Like
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know how to describe it. I don't. For me, it doesn't feel like depression, so I'm not going to say it's depression
Yeah.
because it's there. Like it's just right there. It's just like I'm missing that spark or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like in my gut and everything, I'm just like I'm meant to do more. Like I know you are, and this is where you should be going. But it's just like where's it at? Like
Mm,
where's that spark? I don't know what it is.
yeah. Well, maybe let's take a different spin on it. I know this feeling super well, and it is hard to put words around of like,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
no, I know, but like there's like the initial momentum is missing
mm-hmm,
somewhere, and
mm-hmm,
it's like, all right, where do I find that? What happens if you don't, Whitney? Like we get to the end of your life, not to be the most dramatic person in the room, but if we get there and you
mm-hmm.
don't, like any awareness on how that would sit for you?
I feel like they would say, I'm just thinking like in my eulogy, they would say she did all these things, but she never got to do this.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like she did this, but she really wanted to just do this and she didn't,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I don't know if you feel like a punch in the heart, Whitney, but I
Yeah.
feel a punch in
Yeah.
the heart of like, dang, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What does that bring up for you?
It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And like when I get on like a good, like you said, momentum, like especially like if I'm trying to solve a problem at work or made someone feel really good about themselves at work or, like led them in a right direction or something. It feels really good. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, but doesn't last long, especially in this role. Like it doesn't because there's always that but the and or but like there's always
Yeah.
like the wins are not. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of wins in what I do.
Yep. So, how do we bring that back for you? We know the job isn't the thing. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
really probably problem solving your job per se.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
like identifying the problem of like this is a big time suck for
Mm-hmm.
Whitney
Mm-hmm.
and there's more life that you want to be living and more purpose out there to be had for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I that's why I got like the nurse coaching. I mean, it started with health and wellness, and then I got into the program and started realizing it's more than just health and wellness. Like there is your the root cause of everything else. Like, I mean, you you eat poorly because you don't work out because um and so um I started realizing like there's more to it than just that. And so it's like, oh, okay, so how I want to like, I don't know, like I see myself, I have this like vision in my head right now, just in this moment. Like I want to like be more involved in my community. I want to like build people up in my community. I want to um, be a leading leader in my community. And that community is like friends at the gym, where I live, you know, things like that. I don't and and I enjoy that piece of it of my job there, like being that champion for them, and like you're doing a great job. You do, like I don't like the bad stuff of pieces of it. And I mean, I know that's inevitable. There's always going to be some of that, but
Mhm.
you're not always going to win. But I don't feel like people hear that enough. Like you're doing a good job. You're, you know, um, like just some like just a cheerleader for other people. And
Mhm.
so when I started realizing that, like in my nurse coaching program, I'm like, oh, okay, so um and that's why you become a nurse coach. You are that cheerleader for someone else, and you're just and so I'm like, okay, so um I like that's I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it. I just like I just that's where I see myself, is being someone's cheerleader or champion for it, just somewhere else besides where I'm at. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know I'm just going in circles, but that's
Yeah. It's okay
that's
to go in circles. Yeah.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying of
Mm-hmm.
like we're like kind of close. We're like touching into what you like to do. But we also know that it can be different and
Mm-hmm.
more colorful, and we get to do more of what you like and less of what you don't like over here. And you're right, there'll be negative encounters anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
whether you own your own business or you work for somebody else. It's just the nature of the beast and being human. But um tell me a little bit more about why it's so important to you. Like why can't you let it go if it's still the thing floating around in your brain?
Why can I let what go? The what I'm doing now.
No, your dream, the
Mm-hmm.
purpose. Yeah. The good
Because
stuff.
I do feel it like in my gut, like this. That's what I need to be doing,
Okay.
and like in my heart, like I'm not like I don't think anyone will ever be 100% happy, but I'm just like not even like I'm like 60% maybe, and I'd
Mhm.
like to be more than 60%,
Yeah.
like for sure. Like there was a time, and I think because and I keep going back to this, like when I was just in the clinic, like just doing my own thing, like I like knew my schedule, like I set time to go hang out with my friends, and we would go Zumba together like twice a week.
Mhm.
That's what we did. I knew I could run down and go separate myself from work and go and do stuff with my son's school, come right back. Like it's just 15 minutes away. Like if there was an emergency, I'm right there. And so I feel like I'm just like where I'm at right now is just not like in my like heart and soul is just like it's almost draining me sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm still like, okay, I know I can do more. That's got, you're certified now, and you have your BSN, and you can get more certifications if you want. And, like your community could use more people like you, and, like stuff like that. It's just like, um, I and I'm like, I have all these thoughts and like, oh, I can do this and I can do that. But then, um, it just gets overwhelming.
Mhm. What part gets overwhelming?
Just starting over, I think,
Mhm.
honestly, starting over. And it could be less money too. I mean, I'm not going to lie, leadership brings a little bit more money. And so to have to, and it's not like we've had to cut back before. It's not like it'd be a huge cutback, but I would. I have to cut back. And then I've even interviewed a couple of times, and they always ask you when you're in a leadership position, both times, and they're like, well, why do you want to be not be a leader in leadership anymore? I'm like, why does it matter? I want to say, why does it matter?
Yeah.
And some people have said, well, some people, when they are a leader and then they step out of a leadership role, it's hard for them to not be a leader. I'm like,
Mhm.
so what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just part of me. I just want to be like, but what does it matter? So what? I mean, yeah, I'm in leadership role, but I mean, how do you say to someone, I really don't want to be in a leader, not in this type of leadership role where I have to follow all these policies and procedures and like walk on eggshells, like
Mhm.
that's what I want. I just want to be honest with people sometimes, but in an interview, you just can't always be like yourself and be like, this is why, honestly, point blank.
Yeah. Why not, Whitney?
Well, because no one wants to hear that,
Mm.
especially when you're trying to find another job. They're just like, well, she she doesn't want to be a leader because she doesn't like it. Like, then why do we want her?
Mm. Yeah. Do you really want the job that you're applying for?
One, I did. Well, I say that, but it was to be a school nurse, which I've always wanted to be a school nurse. I love like third to fifth grade. Like my
Mhm.
son was like, not that he's not fun now, but he's gonna be 13 and he's going through something different. But like from third to fifth grade, it was like a lot of fun. Like all of his little friends were fun. Like like those kids are fun to talk to. And I was a pediatric nurse for a long time. And so
Yeah.
those kids are just a lot of fun to talk to. The teenagers, they're like, meh, they're trying to
Yeah.
figure themselves out and they're too cool. And then you get those like third to fifth, like those are fun years. And so um even when I was a nurse, I'm like, man, that'd be fun to be a school nurse. But there's this school system that's virtual in Oklahoma. And I don't know if they're all over, but I applied for that position. The pay was it was a few thousand less than what I make now, but I'm like, that's okay because it was going to be virtual. And then you may have to travel to some sites in Oklahoma. Not like I don't travel now 2 hours every day,
Mhm.
no big deal. And so, but so I filled out the application. They sent me like this online interview. Like they give you prompts, answer this question and record your answer. And like I didn't know what to expect. Like, could you at least show me the questions beforehand? But it was just like during it. And I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling these questions. And so I don't think I could have done as well in them as
Mhm.
I don't know, like some virtual stuff to me is, I like in person stuff a lot better. Like, I feel like I can really connect with someone a lot better. And it was, I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't like the setup. And
Yeah.
so I wasn't like, yes, I'm really going to try. It was just like,
Mhm.
I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for someone who prefers in-person stuff for a virtual job. I'm like, man, it kind of like worked out in your favor. It sounds like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
all unfolding as it should. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, I mean, as far as the nurse coaching and things, I know it's, that's just how it has to be sometimes. And that's okay.
Yeah.
When I was in my CERT program, I chose to do a lot of in person. There was only a couple of times that I didn't, only because of time constraints. But for the most part, everyone that I had to do my private my private clients were all in person
Mhm.
at my house with my dogs as like
Yeah.
therapy. Like they were just, my dogs love to be loved on, so they're just like looking up in
Yeah.
their eyes, you know. It
An
was
extra
great.
asset. An extra
Yeah.
asset. Yeah.
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 Mm.
Yeah. Mm. Well, that's like the third time I've heard you mention the like I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be myself in this interview process. I can't express myself in my job. Um and to me listening to you talk, Whitney, cuz I'm like, yeah, the universe is pointing you in the direction to do the thing, whatever the thing may be, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um I'm curious how that sits for you of knowing we're in a job that we don't want to be in for too much longer. I won't guess a time, but like
Mhm.
we're actively pursuing other options.
Yes.
And then also knowing that the other options are probably still not going to be it either.
Mhm.
That like going back to traditional bedside isn't going to fill this calling that you have to like be more impactful, be that cheerleader, be the person in your community. Like it's still going to come with pretty significant limitations on that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what do you think is trying to happen here for you?
I feel like something is going to change, especially now that I've like said it out there, like maybe not out loud, but just like I am actively looking and just like trying to find something else. And, you know, um, so I'm putting that energy out there and just like, okay, um, something's got to give at some point. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I do try and I not try, no, try. I do try to give my best at where I'm at now
Of course. Yeah.
every day, because I mean that's not nothing. It's not their fault necessarily. Um, but I just know there's something different out there, and I just don't know why I keep like holding myself back. I guess it's not really motivation, and maybe it's just I'm just holding myself back, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure why.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been in a situation like this before to where you're like, I know there's something else. I don't know what it is. Have you ever been in this kind of transition before?
Sort of, not this strongly though, like not this pull so strongly, but the when I finished my RN and the job I was at, they were like, you can stay here. We're going to give you a leadership spot. It would be where I work at with the same clinic. It would just be like lateral with someone else.
Okay.
I mean, and so, but the person I would be lateral with, she was my charge nurse at the time. She was a micromanager to the extreme. And so I even had a DON, the DON that was there at the time. She was asking me what I want to do, all those things. And she goes, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to be honest. She goes, I don't feel like this person is going to let you get there.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of feeling that already. And then for her to say that, I was like, ugh. So that's when I'm like, a friend of mine's like, hey, we need someone in surgery. It's Monday through Friday, all the things. At the time, PACU didn't have to take call because it's a small hospital out here where I live. And so at the time, it was circulators took call, and that was it. Pre and
Mm-hmm.
post and PACU didn't have to. And so I'm like, and holidays and all the things. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just do that. I mean, start IVs, get patients ready for surgeries, take care of them after surgeries. I mean, it's like bedside, but not like it's
Yeah.
kind of a little,
Yeah.
and so, so I did that. I mean, honestly, it wasn't terrible other than they were going to make PACU start taking call. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be on call. I don't want to I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like family and my time and not living to work is like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I made the change. But um, I don't know. It hurt to leave where I was at, but I just knew that they were right. Like I needed to do something different besides being there. And I didn't want someone to hold me down either. And so it was just like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It wasn't as big as of a pool
Yeah.
than it is now before. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah. I can see the parallel, and it's interesting because you were able to make the jump with less of a pull then.
Mm-hmm.
than there is now.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't overthink it. I think I'm over it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just did it. And it was scary as hell too. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I've worked in a clinic this whole time and they
Yeah.
think, oh, she's got her RN, she knows what she's doing. I'm like, you're wrong, but okay. I
Yeah.
worked with kids.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ooh, okay. I think I might be picking up on something here of like we did something before, we didn't overthink it too much. We knew it wasn't the right fit, but like you were able to like switch gears and be like
Mm-hmm.
YOLO, basically. We're just gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it. Now, this time we have this experience of making the decision and landing somewhere where it's not like the most pristine ideal fit. It came at a pretty significant quality of life change. It's in a job that makes you question yourself. We're getting random negative feedback from time to time, and then potentially making another jump. I can see why there could be some subconscious hesitation here of like, hey, we've done this before. And remember it was a little bit rocky there for a little
Mm-hmm.
while, to where previously we didn't have any like awareness to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I mean, I straight up was just like, I'm doing this job and I haven't used a lot of the skills I'm about to use now again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
luckily, luckily though, I got to start that job because I just finished RN school. So they're waiting for me to take my NCLEX. So they let me come in as even though I was an LPN, so I was still a licensed nurse, they let me come in as a nurse extern or whatever. And so like I had to be with someone else for a while until I took my NCLEX. And
Yeah.
so I was able to kind of like slowly get almost like I was in nursing school again,
Yeah.
kind of get those rusty skills back into use and,
Yeah.
all the things. And so it's like some of the stuff was coming back. I'm like, okay, but that helped. And then this job now was just like, okay, here you go. Like
Yeah.
leadership, here you go. So
Yeah.
there's not like a nice little trend. Like I feel like I had an advantage because I had a nice little transition of I'm a nurse extern. I can only do these things. And I can't do it by myself. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
Yeah. And this next move would be by yourself, whether you go to a different job or you start your own
oh yeah.
practice. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
solo for sure.
Hmm.
For sure.
And there's not a lot of people out there like nurse coaches, especially in this state that I know of. I've put it out there before, crickets. And then people are like, nurse coaching, what's that? And I'm like, well, it's this and this. They're like, oh, like a counselor. I'm like, not a counselor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a counselor, not a therapist.
Yeah.
Just, just coach. I'm just here. I'm like, you have a coach in CrossFit. That's just making sure you're doing it safely and doing it correctly and leading you to maybe you should pace yourself a little. And, I'm like,
Mhm.
that's the same thing. And they're just like, oh, like a counselor. I'm like, it's not a counselor. I don't,
Tell me you've never been to therapy before. I can see.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. Well, in how will we know? Like I heard you mention before of like something's got to give. Like I'm putting it out there. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna start looking for something else. Something's got to give. How will we know? What's gonna be your benchmark that you look for, or your sign that you look for of like, yeah, it's time to move?
Honestly, I think it's in some ways has already happened. Like, um, my husband got a job, and he is actually working an hour away from home now too. So we're both like
Yeah.
driving, and
Handy.
yeah, and he drives to Oklahoma City, and so his drive is shorter, but with traffic and stuff, it's about the same distance. I mean, it's the same time,
Yep.
and so like for my son's sake, I feel like one of us, like we have to, one of us, me, because this job's new, needs to find something that is closer. Even though, and people are like, well, he's not young. I'm like, it doesn't matter. And a
Yeah.
kid needs her, that doesn't matter. Are you a parent? Like your kid need one of us to be there,
Yeah.
and one of us needs to be there soon. It can't just be like, hey, my stepmom, hey, stepmom, can you go and grab him? Hey, can
Yeah.
you, like, I'm always just constantly saying, hey, can you help me get him from school today? He has an appointment and I have a meeting. Like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that. Like, I want to be the one to do all these things with him, because this is going to probably open something else, but my mom wasn't. And so I'm just like,
Mm,
one of us has to be there. And so like,
yeah.
this commute and the drive and the commitment, like, is just makes it to where I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. It sounds like that's a big value of yours to be
Mm-hmm.
like a present and attending mom in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the role doesn't allow for it. Like you're having to
Mm-hmm.
choose.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like this coming up Friday, I have a meeting that will last until noon. He has a dentist appointment at 12:30. So I'm like, hey, can someone take him? And this is like the first dentist appointment I've never have taken him to.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I mean, it's a dentist, but still, it's like, I want to be there.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. How does that fuel of like, what's your son's name, Whitney?
His name's Evan.
Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like being there for Evan, does that put any like cleaner motivation fuel in the fuel tank to create some
100% it does.
urgency? Yeah.
Yeah, 100% it does. Like, I even downloaded this, like, not too long ago, say April, maybe March, April. I found this, her name, like, Nurse Fern, is she, like, helps nurses get, like, even online jobs. And so she had, like, this template that you can download to, like, update your resume to help capture, like, those computer generated, like, they that look at resumes when they come in.
Yeah.
So I even downloaded that and, like, revamp my resume, and all the stuff, like, added keywords that might get picked up on something, just to try and start looking at virtual jobs, if there's not something here in town that's just like, that's close to us, that becomes available. And um I mean, like, he was the reason why I went to LPN school to begin with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can't raise a kid as a CNA forever. Like, it's just not sustainable. It
No.
wears your body down. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. And even using that explanation, which is honest and true when you're in interviews on like, why don't you want to do leadership anymore? And you're like, it's my kid's dentist appointment is at 12:30 and I had a meeting at 12 and there wasn't enough flexibility for me in
Mm-hmm.
that role.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could also be earnest and true as well as you're searching. Um, but the secret checklist I have in my head, Whitney, of like, all right, motivated, high achieving, go getter, has a has a fuel source bigger, deeper than herself. Evan, check, 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 check. And whenever you said of like, I think that the moment's already happened, then I'm like, okay, so now what? Now where are we at here for you? Because I agree, you're doing all the things, you're putting your resume out there. Like, I want to give you credit for all of the forward action you've taken so far
Mm-hmm.
to be in alignment with your values, with your family. So, is there anything missing?
uh just that job, I don't know, like, just that signal, like, that sign, like, this is it. Like, I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I haven't seen it yet. um I've even thought, like, well, the clinic I used to work for, they need a nurse. Just, they want an LPN, but I'm like, nah, I could just, like, see if they would hire an RN to do an LPN job and just do that. But is that really what I want to do? No. I mean, the benefits are great. I give them that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting for the sign to, this is it. Like, this is where you need to go. I, the nurse coaching, I really want to dive in deeper into that. Um, I just don't have like that. Um, I want to like spread the word and all the things about it locally, but I just don't have it in my soul right now to do that because I'm not there yet either. Like in my life to be like, this is, this is something that you really need to come to me for because I'm not there yet. And I feel like if I'm going to be doing it, then I need to feel it too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so I'm just like waiting. I don't know. Like, I know waiting shouldn't wait. You should just do and get there. But like, I'm like just biding my time and saying, okay, I'm just waiting for it to come to me. No, I shouldn't do that, but I'm waiting for
Yeah.
the universe to be like, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious what would be the benchmark for you of like knowing that you are there? Because there's a pretty like vague thing.
Hmm.
And if you ask me like, Shelby, are you there yet? I'd be like, hell no, like not even
Yeah.
close. Like
Yeah.
where is there? I'm not sure. However, my benchmark for like being within integrity is that I'm trying, right? Like
Hmm.
I have my own support. I'm showing up for my own BS every day. I'm showing up for the thing every day. Like I'm trying to calibrate towards my North Star often.
Hmm.
And so I'm curious where there is for you when you like, how will you know when you're there? Besides the big red flashing sign that I hope
Yeah.
you
You're right.
get.
I think when my soul is, I don't know, like I want to say like the first thing that's coming to mind is like my soul is like happy with it. Like this is it. Like, and my soul is just not happy with it right now.
Yeah.
And um, I'm, and so I feel like that's where I'm like missing it everywhere. Like even at the gym,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, hmm, like I like being here. I know I need to do it because it's good for my health and I want to get strong, stronger every day. Um, like making sure like that I'm spending time with my friends and spending time with my family. And I'm just like, eh, I don't know what's draining it. I don't know if it's probably just me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Are you spending time with your friends and
Not as much as I'd like to be quite honest
yeah,
with you. I
yeah.
was going to say, like, there was a time, like, almost every other weekend we were doing something, like having a get together over here, just like at my house, having brunch,
Mm-hmm.
going and doing it something, and it's just like, I, to me, everything keeps going back to where I'm at right
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I, I put out all this energy all week long. And so the weekend comes and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to isolate myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Can see how that's like an energy. If all these things usually give you energy, like CrossFit and hanging out with friends
Yeah.
and spending time
Yeah.
with your hubs and with Evan, like all the things like fill you up, and then we're just like not plugged in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing like pouring back in really
Yeah.
to Whitney. That's what a there's like a non-productive fun thing that you get to do, like brunch or get-togethers or
Yeah.
barbecues or whatever the thing may be.
Yeah.
And yeah, friendships, especially with women, friendships, community, big deal.
Hmm.
Super big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Even, I mean, we have a girls' weekend coming up soon, and I'm like so ready for it. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, I need to get away
Yeah.
and just be with my girls and just drink and a stupid amount of wine and just, and just have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. More fun.
Hmm.
More Not pointless fun, but fun without an agenda or fun
Right.
without
Hmm.
productivity points attached to it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Does that feel achievable, Whitney, like in the state that we are right now? Because I know that after our conversation, you still go back to work tomorrow and like the
Yeah,
time constraints still exist. But like viewing that as a form of self-care that fills you up, is that within reach of like spending more time with your people?
it is. It is. I mean, I definitely can reach out more. I mean, I do like I text them. We text back and forth all the time, but like actually seeing each other in person, I'm a very like in person type of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe it's I'm an empath. Who knows? But I'm just like I
Yeah.
just soak up all the energy and I'm just like yes, like all the people I love. I'm just like I need it. Like I can't get enough of it.
Mhm.
And so like when I'm with my girlfriends, like my close ones, I'm just like this is it, you know.
Yeah.
And so texting back and forth just to like know like hey, I'm are you alive? Are you doing well? Things like that. But like to actually be with them is definitely um even more fulfilling for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Can you loop them in on that? Is that something that they know about you?
I don't think so. I don't because I've even felt it when I'm around them because like we all get busy and you know so even when I we do get a chance to be around them which has been a while like even then I'm still like huh, you know um and maybe I just maybe if I'm just tell them what's going on they would probably understand and or say oh no I don't know like you know just be girlfriends and just be like girl it's you know we're here
Yeah.
so
Yeah. If one of your friends was in your shoes, would you want to know?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm, for sure
Yeah.
because I'd be over there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Of course you would.
Like, girl, we're gonna watch movies. We're gonna drink some wine. Do you
Yeah.
need me to help you clean something? I'll do your laundry. Like, what do you need? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Of course. Of
Mm,
course you would. Absolutely.
mm,
I had a friend reach out the other day with a similar sentiment. She was like, I need more time. We see them frequently ish, but it's with our small children around and that's
mm,
chaos. And so she was like, "Can we just like go hang out by ourselves even if we stay up too late?" And I'm like, "Yes. Yes, we can. We can
mm,
100% go do that." And I know it's vulnerable to ask for it.
mm,
But I think if you would want to know if your friends were in a hole, they want to know about you too.
mm. I know I've even thought this, and I don't know if this sounds like, oh, this is so boring or structured, but like our weekend coming up, I've even thought about like coming up with something like nurse coach wise, be like, hey, let's do this all together. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like almost like a kumbaya. We haven't been together in a while. Like,
Yeah.
this is what nurse, I'm certified. This is what nurse coaching is. Like, I'm done with everything. Like, just give you like a little taste of what it is, you know? So I've even thought about that, like getting into it more, like really diving in to it,
Yeah.
testing the water out.
With consent, Wendy, anything is possible.
Mm-hmm,
No, you are allowed. You are allowed. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
100%. 100%. Well, I am excited that you get to have friend time soon. I like that that's on the calendar and won't create a long to-do list of like organization to create a girls' weekend, that it's on the horizon. Um, anything else? Anything else here for what we can do to fuel Whitney from the inside to set all the right conditions for a soul spark for the next thing?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, honestly. I just want to say, like, I need more nurse coach friends.
Yeah.
I've like really have looked out there just in Oklahoma, like someone close I could just meet up with, or someone who aligns. And I'm just like, I mean, other than my girlfriends, I mean, they're going to be there and do, you know, be guinea pigs or whatever that I need. But Um, I don't know, but I just
Mm,
like more of a community,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when it comes to that. But other than Facebook and things like this, I really haven't found it. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of like this by myself out here.
Yeah. Yeah. I have some old clients, Whitney, that are actually in Oklahoma. Happy to reach out to them and see. I just ended with one of them not too long ago, and it can feel lonely for sure. And like being with people who get it and understand is really,
Yeah,
really important. So happy to reach out on your behalf if you would like me to, and pull our Oklahoma people together. Um, it's actually really important for long-term success to be in community with people who
yeah,
understand. Yeah.
hmm yeah. I would actually really like that.
Yeah. Happy to do
Hmm
it. Happy to do it. They're really sweet too, so I would imagine you guys would hit it off great. Um, yeah, I think that community is where we could focus some of your extra energy and build you up a little bit. It sounds like the piece of the puzzle
hmm
that's most pressing in this moment.
Yeah.
Is there anything else here, my friend?
No, I feel like I've been all over the place, but I feel like it. I feel like it's kind of centered for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Hmm
had this thought earlier whenever you had I don't remember exactly what preceded it, but you had mentioned um like not having the time to see your friends as much as you would like. I like clocked it and I was like, I've been in a similar circumstance when I lived really far away when I first started my practice, and it was so isolating. Like I live like 20 minutes south of Canada,
hmm
and people were literally more interested in meth in that town than anything else, and it was so hard. It was so hard for like the first year before, and now I'm in like Austin, the hippie capital of the world, so I'm surrounded by
Yeah.
people
Oh,
pretty often.
that would. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's this place, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. My sister-in-law and I go there all the time, and I
Yeah.
like my soul literally is so happy when I'm there. And I've told my
Oh.
husband several times, like, I need to move here, and he's like, no. I'm like, I need to move here. Like every time I go, I literally am just like in the community, like, hey, what's good here? What's good there? Like I've met people and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like that place literally makes my soul happy. My sister-in-law says the same thing. And her and I are just like, we'll just move here without them then. Like
Yeah.
if they want to come visit us, they can, but we'll live here. My son's very artistic, loves to draw.
Yeah.
They have an art school there, everything. I'm like, he can go there, he'll be happy, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, community is a really, really, really big deal. I think probably even a bigger deal than I could like wrap my head around, to be honest.
yeah.
And to be around your people and with your people, friends or professionals, like kind of holistically in all areas is super critical. So happy to play a little small part in that, Whitney, and
Yeah, that'd
connect
be
you to
great.
some fellow Oklahoma peeps. And um, if can I give you like a little like slice of advice, even though
Yeah.
I'm specifically teaching people not to do that in this course, but I've coached enough nurse coaches by now that trusting the timing of when everything's supposed to come together is like a real big test of patience and almost an art to where there's a surrender that comes with it and a trust that comes with it. And I just want to like witness you in the limbo of recognizing of where we're at isn't it, and I'm not exactly sure where I want to go yet, and trusting that you will feel it when it's time. That's challenging, and
hmm
I'm proud of you, and we are absolutely cheering for you over here on when the moment comes. But in the meantime, taking care of you, making sure your cup is full is like what we get to work on to set
hmm
the conditions for it to catch fire.
Yeah. If it
Mm.
could come tomorrow, that'd be great.
Of course. If you message me tomorrow and you're like, "I had a dream," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Perfect." Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. That would be great. I bet it's soon, Whitney. I bet. I mean, with um nudges or with like pulls that are happening like this, they usually gain momentum and not
Mhm.
it doesn't decrease. So I'd imagine it's sooner than we both think.
Yeah. A friend of mine told me, she goes, the jobs that you're in, those are kind of like 5-year jobs. Like you're just getting started. And I'm like, I don't want it to be a 5-year job.
Yeah.
Like it cannot be a 5-year job. I will not be me in 5 years. I
Yep.
can already feel pieces of me like disappearing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I agree. It won't be 5 years because you won't let it be
Mhm.
5 years. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, Winnie, do you mind doing a little debrief with me here for like a few more moments of two things? What was your biggest takeaway or insight of our time together? And is there anything, since you're a coach as well, is there anything that you would have wanted me to ask differently or asked more of? Maybe a question I didn't get to ask you? Just anything you would prefer to be asked?
Um, I did like that you brought it to my attention that I don't really think it's motivation I'm lacking. Now, when you lay it out like you did, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm a little more motivated than other people.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's laziness, but okay.
Yeah. Like Winnie,
um,
I haven't gotten up for the gym in never have gotten up for the gym at 5. Like you go girl.
yeah.
That's motivation right there. Yeah.
Um, so definitely not like seeing, like hearing it from someone, especially someone who doesn't know me,
Yeah.
and just like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. And then when you say back, I'm like, okay, you're right. So it's not motivation I'm lacking, it's something else.
Cool.
Shit. So more of, no. I mean, I wish I could have more calls like this, but not gonna, it's,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It would be cool, Whitney, if we end up doing follow-up sessions because I did a really cool one with another nurse coach the other day. And now I'm like, I can't help but be invested. And I'm like, well, shoot.
yeah, yeah.
Now I'm kind of like left in this moment. And yeah, if we end up doing follow-up sessions, I'll be certain to reach out and maybe we can like swing back around in a few weeks and paint the picture of what trajectory looks like, over a
Mhm.
period of time. But yeah, I super appreciate this. I You and I are immersed in this world, but as new nurse coaches watch, I already know their gratitude that is for this little gift we get to offer
Yeah,
them. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your
yeah, you're welcome.
flexibility.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'll reach out to my Oklahoma peeps right now because I have ADHD and it will fly,
Yeah.
especially on a Sunday. It'll fly away from me. So I'll do that right now and then hopefully be able to connect you guys this week too.
All right, that sounds
Yeah.
great, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Wendy.
Hmm.
Well, I'll be cheering you on. If you need anything, you know where to find me on the internet. And I'll touch base in a few days if that's okay, just to see how the dust all settles.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great, thanks.
All right, Wendy. You have a good one.
All right, you too, Shelby.
Bye.
Bye.